carry out the sentence in his absence as well if they didn't mind. So he figured that the best thing to do at the time was to emigrate. Now, with the RIC at the time, the British Army, and our own local informers, it was very hard to legitimately emigrate from Ireland, because if you turned up the port, he'd be arrested and he'd be hung straight away. So he went down a place we call the Point in Crosshaven, and he stole a small boat, another hanging offence, or he might have been in for the whole lot with that. And he rowed out Cork Harbour anyway, out by the Bull Rock there. And what he was watching were the sailing ships coming out of Cork Harbour. Now he wanted one that would be going that way, west. He didn't want one going east because that would bring him to England. He was in enough trouble with them authorities back in Ireland. So 3 days he was out there rowing up and down. The poor devil was perished, soaked to the skin, starving to hunger. When he saw this fantastic ship coming out of Cork Harbour, and wasn't she heading due south, the direction he didn't mind. So he started waving anyway. And didn't they send a boat over, and they picked him up and took him on board the sailing ship, grand altogether. Now he was on board for a while before he figured out they weren't speaking Irish, or the few words of English that he had. Weren't they speaking Italian? So anyway, by the time they got near to the Red Sea, for about a month or so, by the time they got to where they were going, wasn't he fluent in Italian? And they were very handy at the Irish as well. And they didn't know what they were talking about, they were fluent in anyway. Anyway, they came into this beautiful Mediterranean port. Can you imagine how blue, in this weather, like blue skies, blue sea, you know, lovely white houses along the tip. God, it looked ideal altogether, lovely fishing boats there. The Mediterranean is a beautiful place altogether. So anyway, he said to the captain, I better tell you now in English, because you would have only 2 people who would understand Italian if I started going on Italian from here on. And he'd get confused. But he said to the captain, like, if he wanted to stay there, like, how would he go about taking up residence? So the captain said, no problem, he said, just go up to the local police station, report your presence, and you can fit in, no problem at all. So he did that anyway. He went into the police station, and there was a kind of a desk. And there was this, I don't know, what do you call a policeman in Italy?
Polizia.
It doesn't matter now, we call him there. And this fellow, like, he was about that height and about that width. And it was a very warm day, like, and he had sweat now from there, kind of down around there, you know. Another streak of it down the back and another bit down the front. And a drop kind of permanently on the end of his nose. That kind of, you kept wondering, was it or wasn't it going to? But anyway, when Muscle got talking to me, he found he was far nicer than he actually smelled, you know. So, anyway, he said to him eventually, he says, I'd like to take up residence. No, he said it in Italian, obviously. He said, I'd like to take up residence. No problem, says your man. He says, but your name will have to be entered in the book of residence. So he went over to a big kind of a dresser they had, and he took down this big book. Oh, sorry. Blew the dust off the cover. And then he opened the pages, and then he picked up an old bit of a HB pencil, which was about that length. They were the old-fashioned pencils, and we got to lick them to get them started, you know. And then he pushed the sleeve up a bit, and he says, right, he says, first, middle, and last name. Oh God, that's where he was in trouble again. Back home, he was known as Muscle Healy, and this fellow was looking for a middle name. Now, he knew his mother always prayed to a Saint Benjamin, so he thought, you know, that will do, they had no way of checking. So he stuck out his little chest and he says, Benjamin Muscle Healy. Now, was it the way that Muscle spoke Italian with an Irish accent, or your man's hearing wasn't the best? Didn't he enter it in the book as Benito Mussolini? And that's how that fine dictator that they had there in the 30s and early 40s came to have an Irish great-great-great-grandfather.
Next we have a fine singer who's got 3 fine CDs out of songs and 2 CDs of storytelling and poems. Please welcome Liam Hutchinson.
This is very good. What is this?
And you sing, you like?